So today we'll be having a session of FS documents. Based on my experience, I'll show some of the FS documents which I have created and why we have created and based on which requirement I have created. And post FS documents, we'll go through the SAP queries. SAP queries are nothing but, for example, if you have a requirement from the client, based on that requirement, without the technical consultant or a wrapper, you can only resolve those issues. For example, some of the reports can be generated from functional consultant itself without the help of technical consultant. So quickly, let me share my screen. Fine. Today, we'll be seeing topic of FS documents. I hope everyone know what is FS documents. Functional specification. I hope everyone knows what is functional specification. As Arkiban sir has said, and he has showed some of FS documents based on his experience. So I will not go from the scratch. I will just let you know how the requirement comes from the client. Based on that requirement, how we are going to fulfill the requirement. Okay. Let me take an example of FS documents which I have recently fulfilled for the client. That is PR clubbing. PR clubbing dashboard. This is the requirement which we got from the client. So first of all, based on this requirement, you are going to design your FS documents and you are going to define the logic. And based on which logic and from where you are going to fulfill this requirement, and based on which logic you are going to define this and getting the output based on the client's requirement. So first thing what I want to mention here is this requirement was not from the client. Client had an issue. Based on that issue, we have suggested this requirement. So based on this PR clubbing dashboard, we can achieve some of the manual work which can be reduced. So we have suggested this method or this dashboard to reduce the effort of the manual work. So as soon as, for example, if a client has some requirement or if he is having some issues, then what you need to understand is you need to understand why the requirement has come. So and why the business requires that requirement. And if we fulfill this requirement, what is the benefits which client is going to get the benefits? And based on that, you need to understand his requirement first. If you understand the requirement, then to write the FS document, you will have some knowledge. And based on if you understand the requirement, you will have better understanding how to fulfill that requirement. So what was the requirement from the client? The requirement from the client was PR clubbing document or PR clubbing dashboard. So what is this PR clubbing document? Let me explain one thing. What is the PR clubbing dashboard? For examples, now to generate a PO, what all are the source? The source are PR, and it may have contract, maybe your requirement, and based on the manual requirement, you will raise a PO. So we are just focusing on the PR today. So what happened is, whenever business is running a MRP, business had nearly 2,000 to 3,000 material. So when they run an MRP, in a single MRP run, they used to get nearly 150 to 300 PRs per day. Okay, based on MRP, they used to get the purchase acquisition. And what business said is, this is the SAP automation, so this is good. But they said that they cannot take the purchase acquisition created by the MRP without checking if the requirement is actually required for the business or not. So they cannot trust the planning based on the MRP. In MRP, what they maintain? They maintain the reordering point, pre-ordering point. We maintain maximum stock level and maximum lot level. Based on this, system is creating the PRs automatically on the background using MRP. Right? And think that you have material M1, and this material M1 has a requirement. It actually had a requirement of 150 pieces. And you have M2 material, but that doesn't have a requirement. But as per system configuration, what you have done in MRP, system is suggesting I need 100 pieces. But business actually does not need these 100 pieces for the production purpose, or they have that is not a fast moving material. They don't have the stock. If they get the stock also, that will not get moved. So what business said is they want PRs to be approved, purchase requisition to be approved by one of the head who is handling that particular section or that procurement type. So what happened on daily basis, they used to get 150 to 300 PRs. It may be duplication also. For example, for material M1, you may have 3 to 4 PRs. So what the department head or the procurement head will he needs to check the complete 150 PRs to approve the PR? To speak frankly, he need to check all the 150 PRs. Each and every PR he need to open, he need to see the requirement, he need to see why the system has generated the MRP. Based on that, he need to approve the PRs. Post that, procurement team will create the POs. So business does not want to waste the time to release the 150 PRs to 300 PRs. To release the 150 to 300 PRs, it nearly takes 4 to 5 hours. To check completely, it will take more than 1 day. If 150 PRs are getting generated per day, he need to release all the 150 PRs. It will take the complete day. So he cannot waste his utility to release only to release the PRs, because he is the head. He knows what is the requirement coming from the business. So he need to check all the PRs and release. And he would have other work also to be carried out. If 8 hours he is spending to release the PRs, then he cannot do his other works. So what they have requested is they need a process where they can select all PRs and release at a time. This was their requirement. And what we suggested is we thought of building a PR clubbing dashboard. Now let's speak what are the problems when he is releasing 150 to 200 PRs. The first problem which he may face is procurement guy cannot place 150 POs. If 150 PRs are getting generated, under that, if you have duplication also, he may need to raise 100 POs at least. First, the department head should release the 150 PRs, then they will at least raise 100 POs. So this is a completely manual book. So, and what is the second thing? The approval part. He cannot approve 150 PRs per day. If he is approving, then the complete day will go for the approval. And the main thing is PO count will become huge. If PO count is huge, what are the difficulties business will face? If PO count is big, they need to track each and every PO when the POs are getting delivered. So if the 100 POs are getting delivered, 100 POs are getting created per day, then he need to track the 100 POs when it is getting delivered. On daily basis, 100 plus 100. So if you see for 10 days, 1000 POs will get generated. He cannot check when the 1000 POs are getting generated and 1000 POs are getting delivered. Each and everything you need to monitor. So it is a big problem for the procurement guy, and it's a big problem for the department head who is going to release a release a PR, and who is going to release the POs. So now what is the business requirement? Based on these issues, we suggested an option called PR clubbing dashboard. Based on this PR clubbing dashboard, what happens is the functional consultant has decided to do this enhancement and reduce the manual work of the employees. So if the requirement is from the client, then it is a functional specification. It is an enhancement. If we are providing some inputs to the client, that is called as an utility program. Utility program. Whenever you are providing some suggestions to the client, and if client is approving for that, then you are starting the work, then that will come under utility program. So to create one program, ABAPer will take nearly 1 or 2 weeks to get this requirement done. So procurement team will, what is the output of this? Once the PRs are generated, all the PRs will get listed in ME5N transaction. This is the transaction where you see list of PRs generated. You can check based on what date the PR got generated. So all the list, you will find all the list here. These are PR list. And what we did is we created an selection button so that he can enter the transaction, not ME5N. We will create a new T code based on his requirement. So think that ZME5N. If he log into the ZE5N transaction, he will see the selection criteria applied on the T code. Right? Based on that, what approval guy will do in that report, he will be able to see what are the PO, what are the PRs, what is the material which is required in the PR, and what is the quantity, what is the plant in which store location is going to fall, and in which purchase organization it is going for purchase. So all this information will get gathered in a single report, that is ZME5N. So what the approval guy will do, he will select which all PRs he needs to release. So if, for example, he needs to release only this PR, this PR, this PR, this PR. So he will select this PRs and he will have a button called collective PR. This is also an enhancement, collective PR. This is an enhancement of new tab generation. New tab generation. This tab was not enabled in ME5N. We requested ABAPer to get this tab enabled so that you can select the PRs in the list and click on the collective PR. What happens if he clicks on the collective PR? All these PRs will get clubbed into a single PR. Single PR will get generated. So now what the department head will do, he will just check one PR, will check all the requirements, what are the requirements, and based on that, he will approve the PR. And that PR will flow to the procurement team, and procurement team will place a PO, a single PO. Right? Based on this enhancement, what all has been saved? The manual work of approval has been saved. The manual creation of POs of 100 POs reduced to 1 PO now. Right? And there is a space saved in the database. These three has been achieved now. Now, how you are going to set up this based on the configuration? First, you need to set up the configuration based on this. For example, all these PRs are getting generated with the document type of NB. Okay, and all these MRP generated PRs are with NB. Now, what you want to do is you need to create a new document type called ZNB. For example, these are example. Create a ZNB document type, and whenever you select these PRs and click on this collective PR, a single PR is getting generated. That PR will have a document type of ZNB. And what all these PRs will happen? These PRs these all the PRs which you have selected and click on selective PR, all these PRs will flag for deletion. Flag for deletion. These all PRs will get deleted and a single PR will get generated with the document type of ZNB. Right? Based on this single PR, they will place a PO, a single PO, and that will be sent to the vendors. And one more question here. One more question client has raised is, for example, all these PRs will not be raised to single vendor. Single vendor. Now, how this requirement can be fulfilled in the system? So, what we did is we asked if you are placing an MRP, when you are running an MRP, for all the MRP materials, you will have a source list or PIR defined in the system. So based on this, whenever you run the MRP, in all the PRs, you should have the vendor numbers picked automatically from the backend. That can happen right based on your configuration. I know that you know that how the vendor is getting picked in the PR based on the source list and PIR. Right? Based on these two categories, we achieved picking the vendor for each and every PR here. Now, I will select particular PRs and click on collective PR. Based on the vendors, your PRs will get generated. If one vendor has 50 PRs generated based on MRP, so 50 PRs will get converted into one PR, so that this PR can be converted into PO for one vendor. Right? This is just an example of 150 PRs to 300 PRs. It can be more than 500 PRs also based on the MRP run which happens in the background. If it is a big industry, you will find more PRs generating based on the MRP. And you may have the STOs also, which are getting generated based on MRP. So if you have the STO, the document type will be UB. So for this UB, you need to generate a document type of ZUB. So all these document types will club and get created in a single PO called ZUB. Right? This was the solution which was provided to the client, and based on this solution, client has approved the solution which we have provided, and based on this solution, we need to generate a FS document. Right? Okay. Let me show you the FS document which we created. Till that, any questions in this requirement of the client and how you are going to resolve? One more thing to let you know, whenever you get a requirement from the client, you need to think how you need to resolve this issue. You should not directly go to the ABAPer and ask what is our solution for this. First, you need to think how you are going to resolve this issue. You are going to define the solution for this. Then the solution will be placed to the client, and you have to explain the solution to the client, and the client is satisfied with the solution. Then he will give approval. Post that approval, you are going to generate an FS document. Right? Okay.
Hi, Venkatesh. Hello. Hello, are you audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, actually, I have doubt here. What is the meaning here? Collective PR.
Collective PR, I said you right. All the PRs which have the same document type and same vendor are getting converted into one PR. That is the collective PR dashboard.
Suppose in the same vendor have multiple, like sometimes subcontracting or sometimes direct procurement in the same vendor. How will be managed with the collective PR?
Yeah, for that you can have a field selection, right? For that, for example, whenever you are opening a report in SAP, you will have the you have the field selection. For example, let me open the SAP system.
Okay.
Give me a second. For example, this is an SAP system. let me open ME5N. So ME5N. Okay. This is the T code to see what are the list of purchase equation we have. These are the selection criteria. Based on this selection criteria, you can have a new selection criteria to say that you need to select only the novel procurement, or you need to select only the subcontracting, or you can have only the third party or consignment. You can have an option here. If you ask an developer, he will generate and provide you the selection parameter. Based on the selection parameter, you can assign, you can achieve that issue also. For example, here you can see the document type. Here, when you need to suggest the client saying that whenever you go to the ZME5A, select your document type. If you want to select only NB, select only NB and select UB. Then click on the execute button. Then your report will get appeared here. In the report, on the left side, you will find the selection keys. I'll show you the screenshot in the FS document so you'll understand. You can click those PRs and click on the collective PR generation here, so that all the PRs will get converted into one PR. Right? You can your question can be answered based on the selection criteria. It can happen. So you need to think how you are going to resolve the client's issue. If he is asking any other requirement, you need to think how you need to resolve those issues. That is the main work which functional consultant will have. If you provide your requirement to the developer will just provide you the program to you. It will take some 2 or 3 days based on your logic, based on your thinking. He will develop a program and provide you. But the resolution or the solution to the client, you need to provide the solution to the client. So you need to think in that way how the client's requirement you are going to fulfill in the system, right?
This is for a single vendor, na Venkatesh?
No, this is for multiple vendors. For example, just I'll enter NB here. Enter NB here. I think I'll not have the PRs. I'll click on this close purchase requisition and execute. I'll have multiple PRs will get appeared here. I'll put scope of list as A and B. Okay, let me execute it as of now. So these all are the purchase requisition which got created in the system. So each and every purchase requisition will have different vendors. So you will have this type of section here in this first row, so that you can select which all purchase requisition you want to select. You can select, and here you will have an option called collective PR clubbing. So if you click on that PR clubbing, all the PRs will get deleted and a single PR will get generated in the system. You will have new number for that PR, and that can be converted into PO. And if you have different vendors, for example, if you have 3 to 4 vendors, and for each vendor you have 10 PRs, all the PRs will get converted into one PR, and one PR will get generated for one vendor, and that PO will be sent to the vendor. This is a big enhancement. I think it will take time to understand, but understand the basic as of now. If I show the FS document, you will get the complete knowledge how the logic is defined in the system. Okay. Any more questions?
Suppose multiple vendor is there. How will we convert to like a PO? Suppose a PO, sometimes we will generate the PO in a single vendor based on the who get like a least price. So based on that, we will create the PO and send the quotation, or like receive the quotation and receive the goods from the vendor.
Okay, let me tell you one thing. When the MRP will get automated.
Okay.
When MRP will get automated, can you answer when, at what situation the MRP will get automated? You have the particular vendor, you have the defined vendor, you know that you need to buy this from this vendor, and you have the requirement, and at what price you are going to buy. All these are already defined in the system through source list and PIR. At this situation only the MRP will get run. If you don't have the vendor or if you don't have the price in the system, how MRP will get generated? How your PR will get generated? Your PR will not get generated, right? You need to have the requirement first, then you need to maintain the source list and the PR. That this is a mandatory step which I mentioned before. You need to have this selection, you need to have the source list, you need to have the PAR. Based on source list, the vendor will get picked. Based on PAR, your price will get picked. So whenever you generate a PR under the source of supply tab, your vendor will get appeared, right? And in valuation area tab, the price will get updated. So you know it, any information, it can be directly converted into PO. Right. For that reason, this selection is compulsory. We mentioned that this selection is compulsory if you want to do this scenario or if you want to run this scenario. For another example, if I take, for example, you have PR 001, PR 002, and PR 003, and so on till PR 150. For example, for these PRs, the vendor is same. Okay, and from this PR to this PR, the vendor is same, V2. And from this to this, the vendor is same. So, if the vendor is same for all these PRs, you are going to create one PO or you are going to create different POs. I'm audible, right?
Yeah, one PO.
Yeah. When you select these PRs, all the PRs, and if you click on collective PR, all these PRs, for example, these three PRs will club into one section and give you the PR 011. Okay, and these PRs will get clubbed into PR 022, and this will give you PR 033. So now you found that you have 9 PRs here. For example, 333. So these 9 PRs got converted to 3 PRs. And this PR can be converted into one PO. This can be converted into one PO, and this can be converted into one PO. As vendor is same. So what system will do is system will identify for which all PRs the vendor is same. So based on that, PR clubbing is happening here. Right? You need to think the solution based on the client requirement.
Venkatesh sir,
Yes, Sanjay.
when the MRP is going to hit this source list, if in the source list 2 to 3 vendors are there, the rate is not same, and the quantity and the conditions of the purchase order is not same, then what it is going to pick first?
Yeah, in source list, you will have a fixed and block indicator, right? You need to, for any of the vendor, you need to have fixed indicator. At that time only, the vendor will get picked when the PR is getting generated. If you don't have the fixed indicator in the source list, the vendor will not get picked. You need to explain all these criteria, what all manual work they need to do for a single time to reduce this manual work.
Okay, thank you.
Is any more questions? No, Prabhakar, I guess your answer is your question is answered.
But I don't want to fix any vendors in that case because price will differences.
Yeah,
according to that, I want to procure.
Okay,
That is the case. So sometimes I am very required for the material as per the quantity, as per its performance. Sometimes it is depends on prices. It varies, depends on that.
Okay. At that situation, you have this requirement for all the 1,000 materials or only for some materials?
So depends upon businesses. It will vary. Depends upon.
It depends on the business, right? You have 1,000 materials. In that 1,000 materials, 100 material you don't want the source list. then for that 100 PRs, you need to do the manual work. If this needs to be automated, then your source list needs to be automated, or it needs to be fixed. If you have the source list fixed, then only this scenario will run.
Okay.
If you don't have a source list, then vendor will not get picked automatically in the PR. And what happens? It will become a huge impact. All the PRs will get clubbed into a single PR. If you want to buy the different materials from different vendors, then that will become a problem. So what we suggested to business, you need to have this two requirement needs to be fulfilled from your end so that we can run this scenario.
Okay, stop.
Any more questions? If you don't have any questions, then I'll move to FS document and show you the document how it is created. Fine. If you don't have any questions, then I'll show the FS document how it is created. Okay, let me open the FS document. So this is the FS document which we created. Okay, the version is 1.2. When we created the FS documents and did the enhancement, there were some issues. They need some other, for example, let me show you what was that issue also. We generated FS document only for the standard material. And after some time, when we generated, they requested for subcontracting also. So we added a subcontracting selection criteria also in the P-code ZME5A. So let me check. Okay, it is saying who is the ABAPer, who is the process lead, and which company code you are going to generate this. And it is showing how the content, what is the content, how the functional specification will work, and based on which program you are going to run this. Okay, and you are providing the summary of what the client has been requested. PRs generated via MRP are required to be clubbed together according to the business requirement. The clubbed PR should have a quantity control and should have an approval workflow triggered for the same. What is this quantity control? Quantity is control in the sense, for one material, you have multiple PRs. All those quantities should be also clubbed in one PR. That is the requirement which client has been requested. And how we are going to build the business requirement based on business requirement, what is the solution we have provided. And now this is the main thing what you need to mention. So in some of the companies, they will not mention this as is business process and to be business process. I recommend you to have these two sections because the client will understand. In future reference also, client will understand that what was my requirement and how I was working, and based on this enhancement, what was the time which was saved and which was the dashboard which we created, what was the use for the dashboard. So PTO process was performed by SAP. So in ME51N, they used to create the PRs. They'll go to ME51 and club all the PR manually, then they'll create one PO. So what we did, we created a dashboard, and based on the background run, a single click, the data is getting converted into one PR. Now, as I said, the selection screen. The selection screen is nothing but this screen. This is nothing but the selection parameter. Right? First, we need to define what is the selection parameter which we need to provide to the ABAPer. So, what was our selection parameter? We need material, we need receiving plant, we need receiving location, vendor, delivery date, purchasing group, purchasing org, material group, and the MRP control. So, if you enter any details in the selection parameter and click on execute, only those PRs will get appeared. If you want to check the PRs only for certain material, enter the material codes and then execute. Then you will see only those PRs which are created for a single material. Or if you want to see PRs generated for a single vendor, enter the vendor value and click on execute. It will show the PRs which are generated only for that vendor. So based on this, your issue also will get resolved. You can club the PRs based on the vendor also. Enter your vendor, based on each vendor, club the PRs. Right? Here you need to provide your table name and field name from where the data should get filled. As our ABAPer was exported, so we do not provide these table and fields. You know what are the fields and tables used for material. Okay, for material we use MatDoc. In MatDoc, we used to pick the field called Marlon. So material number will get appeared there. So based on that table and field, this data will get fetched. Okay, and this is the example screen which we have provided for the ABAPer. So my report should look like this. I need to have the PRs, I need to have a requested date, material, and I need to have the requisition. So I can click this, I can select all the PRs and click on the collective PR. Here we have created a collective PR option. If you click on the collective PR, a single PR will get generated. So that PR can be approved and it can be converted to PO. That was the requirement from us to the ABAPer. And this is the selection parameter. You see, here you have all the purchase requisition which are created from MRP, and here you have a subcontracting PR. If you want to generate only for the subcontracting PR, select this selection parameter and then execute. You will get only the subcontracting PRs. If you click on this purchase requisition and execute, you will get only the standard purchase requisition which is created from the MRP. So this issue is also resolved. And if you want to based on the vendor, click enter the vendor, you need to design this data and provide it to the ABAPer. So based on that, you will get the data. Based ABAPer will define the program from his side. Now let us see what is an enhancement we need to do based on the tables and fields which we need to provide as a functional consultant. So this is the header. You need purchase requisition, you need item, you need account assignment category, item category, acquisition date, what is the material, material description. So you need the open quantity, you need the vendor, you need the fixed vendor. You see here we have mentioned we need the fixed vendor. If you have the fixed vendor, then only the report will get generated and you can convert those PRs into a collective PR. If there is no fixed vendor, the PRs will not come in the list. This is one criteria which you need to observe. Okay, so we are getting the data from EBAN table. What is EBAN table? Can someone answer in the chat box? What is EBAN table?
Purchase requisition details.
Yes, purchase requisition details. In EBAN table, I will take the purchase order, purchase requisition number. If you go into SAP system, you can use SC16N or SC16 or SC11, that is your wish. EBAN, click on enter. If you see here, this is the field name, BANFN. BANFN will pick your purchase requisition number. So I have defined that based on, go to EBAN table and pick this field so that I'll get the PR number. This is for PR item number, BNF P0. If you see here, BNF P0 is for item number. So for each and every item in the PR, I want the item details also. So using EBAN table, I'm getting all these details. Right? And for each and every header, I need the store location, I need the purchasing group. For all these details, I have picked the data from EBAN table. So EBAN table, I have achieved the output within a single table. If it's not achievable, then you can go for the other table, EBKN. So what is the advantage here is in a single table, you are getting all these details. If you are not getting the details in a single table, then you need to link the table from one table to the other table. For example, I'll show you the other FS document where we are linking one table to the other table and getting the details from there. So as per my requirement here, in a single table, I am getting all the details. Okay. If you see MEANS is for unit of measure, you need to at least remember some of the fields name which come under the table names. Okay, for plant it is WERKS, and for purchasing group is EK, GRP. Okay, for info record it is INFNR. So these are the field names which you are going to provide to your technical consultant, that is your ABAPO, so that he can fetch the data from these tables. So that based on these tables, he can achieve all the information in a report manner. Okay, and what is the logic I have defined here? If you see here, the program should fetch PRs which do not have PO created, or open PO should be picked. For example, what is my logic here? I am saying that if PRs are created and if the PRs are converted into PO, that PR should not get fetched. Right? You see here, the program should fetch PRs which do not have the PO created. So, which all are converted into PO. I don't want those PRs. I need the POs. I need the PRs which are not converted into PO yet. That is my first condition. And the second condition is I need only the open PRs. For example, some PRs would have been deleted, or some PRs would have been already received using POs. So I need only the open PRs which need to be picked. For that, what is the logic? From EBAN table, your MENGE. What is this MENGE? You go here, if you enter MENGE, click on enter, the quantity, the PR quantity. The PR quantity minus quantity ordered. What is the quantity requested and what is the quantity ordered? Quantity ordered in the sense, what is this quantity ordered? When the quantity will get ordered, when the PR is converted into PO, then the quantity is ordered. Right? If my PR quantity and the ordered quantity, if I do a subtraction, it should not be 0. If you see this symbol, then in SAP language, this is called as a not equal to. Right? If it is not equal to 0, then the data should get picked. And in EBAN table, EBAKZ, what is this field? This should be blank, closed. If PR is closed, you can close PR manually, right? If you are not using the PR, instead of deleting, you can close the PR. So you can say the system that if my PR is blank, it is not closed. Then I'm defining my logic saying that if it is blank, then I need to pick this PRs. If I pick the closed PRs, there is no use. Those will not get converted. So those should be blank. So I have defined some of the conditions here. Based on these conditions, system will pick the particular PRs and that particular PR will get clubbed into one PR. Okay. And one more thing here. Here, what I have defined is whenever I am going to see the particular PRs and getting converted into a single PR, I need to change my purchasing group manually. If I want to change my purchasing group manually, I need to do it. So it is asking, I'm asking them include F4 drop down help. What is this F4 drop down help? In SAP language, F4 drop down help is nothing but this. If you click on this, this is F4. Instead of clicking this, if I click on F4, it will take to the data. So if I click on right click on this and show you, I think it is not working. So F4, if I need to have an access to change the purchasing group by clicking F4. Okay, and I need to change my storage location also if required. So this is my requirement to the technical consultant. So based on this, he will provide me the program for that, and he will define based on that program, he will create a T code. Right? He may create Z ME5A or he can create Y ME5A. Based on that, if the client is running that T code, he will be able to achieve this document. He will be able to see this selection parameter. He can select the parameter from here, and if he execute that, then he will be able to see this data. Based on this data, he is going to select which all PR he need to approve, and he is going to click all this. And if you click on collective PR, the single PR will get generated and all these PRs will get deleted. And single PR he will check once and he will release the PR and that PR will be converted into PO. Right? Okay, this is an so we have defined what should be the T code also. We have defined ZMM100. If a client enters this T code, then he need to see this selection parameter. Then based on that, he can have multiple inputs. If you need to define this logic also. For example, if I go to SAP and if I go to ME5A, you will have this section. This is multiple selection. You need to ask your technical consultant, this multiple selection is required or not. So here we have defined that for all this, you need to have a multiple input.